everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is the 5th of July and it is a teacher strike day here in the UK, in England more specifically, and I am finally coming on to open the vlog. I took a few days off. I usually do take a few days off at the start of each month from vlogging. You've probably noticed if you've been watching my wrap-ups, I usually start talking sort of around the 5th, 6th, 7th of the month, because I always feel like I need a little break for whatever reason once I finished a monthly vlog. So here I am. Status update first, then I got some bookish stuff to talk about. I'm still very tired. I've been feeling a lot better in myself. If you didn't see my June wrap up, I was signed off of work for 2 weeks with stress and burnout in June, and I've been back to work now. This is my second week back. I'm definitely feeling better, a lot better than I was. But I am still a little bit up and down in terms of anxiety. So like this morning I felt great, I felt strong, I did yoga, I was having a lovely time, and then at lunchtime, for whatever reason, my brain has just kicked in with the anxiety, so I'm feeling a little bit wibbly wobbly this afternoon, but I'm okay. This week I worked Monday, Tuesday. Yesterday was a very long day. Yesterday was transition day for year 6, which I actually wasn't actively involved in the daytime stuff because I had a full teaching day yesterday, and I'm not a year 7 tutor this year. I'll be moving up into year 9 with my tutor group, which is lovely and very good news, because I was worried for a bit that I was going to be made to take a new tutor group instead of keeping my current set. So that was nice that I get to carry on with them. So I wasn't actively involved with the year 6s, although I did see them around, and they're so cute and so small. It's crazy. Especially because I can remember my current tutor group, who are year 8. I can remember their transition day, and I can remember a lot of them and what they were like, and it's just bizarre how quick they change. Anyway, so I wasn't directly involved in that, but I did teach 6 lessons. So I taught a full day, and then we had to stay until, well, I left school at 7:45 in the evening, because it was then the parents came and the head teacher gave a talk, and we all had to be there to smile and wave and all that stuff. So I did that and got home at about 8:30 last night, having left the house at 7:15 in the morning. So it was a long day. So today, excuse me, I didn't sleep very well last night. I also woke up really early. Well, I woke up at the time my alarm would normally go off, which is 5:45. And as soon as I started stirring, Sav was all over me. So I got up so that she wouldn't wake Gary before his alarm, which wasn't until 7. But yeah, so I've been up early. It's now about 3:30. Did some yoga, which is really nice. Went into the little local town to donate some books, which I think I did B-roll for. Then I went into some secondhand book shops. I might have bought myself 4 books, which I'll show you in a second. And then I've come home. I've just been doing some life admin stuff, so sorting out. I'm doing a lot of traveling in July and August when we're on school holiday. So I was just sorting out all the details of that, and parceling up books to send to my friends and all those kind of things. Here comes Jackie boy. He's I will stand just out of reach and just out of camera, off camera. Hey. Oh. That was Jack. That was smooth. Yeah, so I was just sort of sorting all of those bits and pieces out. Just had the food shop delivered. I'm going to cook something really nutritious and lovely for dinner tonight for Gary and I once he gets back from work. So I'm just kind of when I feel a bit angsty like this, it's better for me to be active and doing stuff rather than sitting still, but not too much stuff so that I tire myself out. So I'm just trying to find that balance. So that's what we're up to. We've got school tomorrow, which is Thursday. Then we're off on strike again on Friday. And then next week is the final proper week of term. But we're only going up till Thursday because Friday is sports day, which is my first time I've ever done a sports day. So that'll be interesting. I'll obviously tell you all about that. I won't be able to vlog any of it, obviously, because of data protection. But I will tell you my experience once I've done it. I can't lie. I'm a bit anxious about it. It's my first one I'm doing as a teacher, and I don't really know what to expect. So we'll see. And then the week after that, I'm away at camp. So there probably won't be much footage. There won't be any footage that week. Again, because of data protection. I might show you my room. Apparently the staff have got our own rooms this year, which is a massive upgrade from last year, so that's exciting. So I'll be able to show you that. So yeah, and then we finish school on the 21st of July. So we're almost there. We've got 5 school days, 5 teaching days left. 6 days counting sports day, and then a week of camp. I can do this. So close to the end. There's also still so much to do, but anyway, right, let's talk about books, because I've already finished 3 books this month. and it's the 5th, so we're doing pretty well. Although one of them I read mostly in June, but I finished it in July, so we're going to talk about now. So the first book was 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard. This was one of the books that Charlotte sent in her big box of books that she sent me last month. This is one of the 3 that I pulled out to keep for myself, and the rest have gone into my school library. Yeah, I feel quite conflicted about this book because I've read from Catherine Ryan Howard before, and she writes what I would call kind of basic thrillers, in that they are the kind of book that you read once, and then if you're in a hotel, you would like leave it in the hotel for the next person. It's enjoyable at the time, but you won't necessarily, like, it's not like earth-changing writing or anything. Earth-shattering writing, life-changing writing. There we go. This was interesting, and there were bits of this that I really, really liked, and then bits of it I didn't. So it's set during COVID. And this couple who meet just before Ireland goes into what was basically lockdown, and they meet and they start dating, and then the lockdowns happen, and so instead of being separated, they decide to temporarily move in together and kind of ride out the pandemic. And you know from the beginning that one of them has been found dead. There's Jack leaving. One of them has been found dead 56 days after they meet, basically. There he goes. And so you're following several strands. We've got the police officers who are investigating the murder, trying to work out who's dead and why, because at the beginning you don't know which one of them is dead. You're following both the male and female perspective in their relationship, but then it also jumps forward and back in time, so it's quite complicated. I really liked and really enjoyed the first sort of 80 pages, the setup and all of that kind of stuff. But then it started going back in time to when they first meet, and we'd already had it in her perspective. I can't remember what her name is. Kiara and Oliver. So we'd already had it from her perspective, and then it rewound and we had it again from his perspective, but it was exactly the same scene and exactly the same like conversation and pretty much the same observation. And it was a bit like, why are we having this a second time? Because I was just skim reading, because it literally felt like Catherine Ryan Howard had just copied and pasted from one chapter into a later one, and I was like, why do we need this? So I didn't love that. I do think that if you are still feeling very kind of traumatized by it or sensitive to COVID and the pandemic, do not pick this up, because one of the things I think she did really, really well was bringing to life what it felt like as it was happening. That kind of slowly, you know, almost like being in a pot that's very, very slowly getting warmer and warmer and warmer, and then suddenly you know, everything's boiling and you don't quite know how you got there, and the claustrophobia of it and the kind of panic of, you know, that kind of alien feeling of things that used to be totally normal pre-pandemic, like going food shopping, suddenly in the pandemic become really difficult. So I thought she did that fantastically, and in her author's note at the back she says that she wrote this book during the pandemic and the lockdowns, and that makes total sense because it's really vivid. I gave this 3 stars, either 3 or 3.5, I can't remember. It's been a couple of days since I finished it. I feel like it was 3 because the twist, there's a few twists in here. The big twist I did not see coming. No, I saw the big twist coming. There's a secondary twist that I didn't see coming, which I did think was clever. I feel like it's revealed too quickly which one of them is dead, because that was like one of the tensions in the first part of the book, and then you find out fairly quickly who's dead. And I feel like the way that death unravels was a little bit of a letdown. So yeah, for me, it was very middle of the road. I feel like this is one that I probably won't remember even by the end of the month the details of, apart from the skill in her writing where she was writing about the lockdowns. I felt like that was really skillfully done. So there are my thoughts on that. It was a book and I read it, to quote Aoife from Pretty Polka Dots. Okay, then the next book that I finished, I read in 24 hours, less than. This is The House Hunt by C.M. Ewan. This is an ARC. This comes out in August. Do we have a date? Yeah, 31st of August. So this is obviously the ARC cover, but this here is what the actual cover will look like. This has been sent to me by Bookbreak in exchange for an honest review. It's my second C.M. Ewan book I've read. I read The Interview, which I feel like was last year, but it might have been earlier this year. I can't remember. I gave this 4 stars. I thought this was a really strong thriller. So C.M. Ewan, I think he's called Chris. Yeah, he also writes as Chris Ewan. He's written quite a few books. He's really good at taking an ordinary, everyday event, like a job interview, which was the last one I read, or a house hunt in this one, and then making it descend into complete and utter chaos. This was so twisty. I read most of this on Sunday evening in like 2 hours, and it's not small. It's over 400 pages. It's 430 pages, and I probably could have read this in one day if I'd started at lunchtime. Like, I just couldn't put it down. It was so pacey. I don't want to give too much away because I feel like you should just go in blind, but you're following a woman called something. Why am I so bad? Lucy. That's it. Why am I so bad at character names? You're following a woman called Lucy who has just done this house up with her boyfriend in London, and she gets a call from the estate agent to say, the estate agent's running late, can you just start this viewing off and I'll be there and I'll take over from you, I won't be long. So she starts this viewing with this man, and it's just her and the man in the house, and things go from there. And that is all I really want to say. I would say there are big content warnings in this for trauma, I'm just trying to work out what I can say without it being spoilers. Her boyfriend Sam is a psychologist who specialises in phobias. So there are certain phobias discussed in quite a lot of detail in here, as well as like feelings of panic and anxiety and all the things that go with that. There is also a character in here with quite advanced dementia, so be aware of that in case that's something that could trigger you. And also for just the general mayhem that comes with the thriller. There are action scenes in here. There are descriptions of stabbings and wounds and all of that kind of stuff. So just be aware. It's not for the faint-hearted, but if you want a fast-paced, completely crazy, kind of leave your brain at the door and the logic at the door, I really recommend this one. I liked it a lot. It got 4 stars from me, and I will happily read anything else that this author brings out because I thought it was really clever. And then the final book that I have read so far this month is The Moving Finger by Agatha Christie. This is very kindly gifted to me last month by... oh no, there's no name on the gift note. That's not helpful. I can't remember who it was. I'm so sorry. It's in my June wrap-up. Whoever it was, thank you so much. I actually read this on audiobook. It's on Scribed and it's narrated by Richard E. Grant, and I really loved the experience of having him read this to me. I have given this... I think I gave this 4 stars in the end. If I gave it less than that, it would have been 3.5. I feel like I gave it a 4. And I'm a bit torn on this one because in lots of ways this is my favourite Miss Marple story so far. I am working my way through in publication order. For those of you that don't know, I tried reading a couple Poirot novels and I just didn't get on with him as a character. I thought maybe it's Agatha Christie's writing is not for me. Then I read One by One, which is one of her standalones, and I loved that. One by One, and then there were none. Not One by One, and then there were none. And I loved that. And then somebody suggested that I try Miss Marple. So I read The Murder at the Vicarage, if that's what it's called, the first one, and enjoyed it. And is it? Yeah, Murder at the Vicarage. And enjoyed that one. I also really enjoyed 13 Problems, which is the second one, and then this is the third. And I'm slightly conflicted because in lots of ways this is, like I said, my favourite Miss Marple story, but she's barely in it. She's in like the last 10% when she rocks up and solves a crime. Most of the time we are following, what is his name? I want to say Richard. Oh, it's not going to tell me, is it, on the back? That would be too easy. Oh my gosh, what is his name? Joanna's the sister. Jerry, I think. We're following a man who has been injured in a plane crash. He's a pilot, and he's basically sent to a tiny village in the middle of nowhere to recuperate with his sister. And they're supposed to be just having a quiet time, country air, no stress. And then they get caught up in a series of poisoned pen letters, one of which results in a suicide, and then a dead body is also found. So people are then starting to die and it gets more serious. I really, really like the narrator in this, as in the story, not Richard E. Grant. He did a beautiful job, by the way. I would highly recommend the audiobook read by him. I'm going to go out of my way to find more audiobooks read by him because it was just such a great experience. But in terms of this story, we're following him most of the time. I really like the way that the mystery unravelled. I did spot who the culprit was, although I didn't spot why they'd done it or how they'd done it. I just thought it was them. Miss Marple isn't really in this, like I said, so it's weird that it's a Miss Marple story. I feel like it feels like she's sort of shoehorned in at the end. She's kind of brought in because the police haven't solved it, and she does her usual thing where she's just like knitting and casually explaining how everything works, which I always enjoy, to be fair. But there is also so much sexism in this book, which I don't feel like has been in the other two, or maybe I just missed it in the other two. But there's a lot of like descriptions of women, or a particular woman, as like being a nice bit of skirt. and all of that kind of stuff. So just be aware. It's obviously an older book, and unfortunately, when did this first get published? 1943. So, you know, there'll have been opinions that correct for the time, but that didn't sit very easily with me. But the actual mystery itself, I did enjoy. And there's also quite a sweet romance in this that I liked, which is surprising. So yeah, I enjoyed this, 4 stars. I will definitely pick up the next book. I am kind of collecting these editions fairly slowly. But I really enjoyed that one. So there we go. Right, I have a parcel from a lovely human to open. Before I do that, I will show you the books that I bought this morning, but I'll do it quickly because we're already like 15 minutes in. So these were all bought secondhand in various secondhand bookshops today. So I got Our Little Cruelties by Liz Nugent. I love Liz Nugent. She wrote Strange Sally Diamond, and when I saw this for £1.50, even though it's clearly been very loved, like it's so bowed, like all of these are quite damaged, I was like, for £1.50 I will pick up a Liz Nugent, so thank you very much. I also picked up, oh, it's got a weird sticker on the front. These all need like cleaning and sorting out. I also picked up another Sarah Waters. This is The Night Watch, which is one that I've heard a lot about because I think it's told in reverse. So I'm kind of intrigued as to see how that works. I've had a very mixed time with Sarah Waters. I gave Tipping the Velvet 5 stars. I DNF'd The Little Stranger. There was another one that I think I gave like 3 stars. And I've got another one on my shelves upstairs. But again, for £1.50, and it's, you know, for Dorothea House. I mean, look at the state of that, and it's so sun damaged. But anyway, I thought we'd give that a try. Then one that I've never heard of, but it looks cute, and it looks like a cozy murder mystery thing. I picked up A Spoonful of Murder by J.M. Hall. It's got a cat on the cover. This partly is because I haven't said this anyway yet, although by the time this comes up, you'll have seen my recommendation video. But I'm on Team Blue. I'm co-hosting Team Blue for Brianna's amazing readathon from 4 Paws in a Book. I will link her announcements video in the description. And you get extra points if you read books in the month that have your team colour on. I don't know what the prompt's going to be yet, because that's the whole idea. They get revealed every couple of days through the month. But I saw it and I was like, well, it's cute and I'm kind of interested. And it's about retired teachers who meet in a cafe and then get caught up in a murder. And I was like, and it's blue and it's got a cat on the cover, so I'll have that for £2. And it also supports, I can't remember which one this came out of. It might have been Oxfam. And then finally, a book I've never heard of before, but it just looked interesting. It's also got a massive dent in the cover, but anyway. This is Burnt Coat by Sarah Hall, which I think is another COVID story, but I think this is literary fiction by the look of it rather than a thriller. And just something about this one really intrigued me. I really like the cover, minus the dent, and it's very short, and I just thought, yeah, we'll have a go at that. So those are 4 books that I really didn't need, but I bought. And then finally, I've got this. I'm going to try and show you whilst covering my address up, because I know it's from Charlie, because it says on the bottom, it says, this little package is packed with Charlie love for you, because she's just the absolute cutest human in the whole world. So let's see what this is. She asked for my address again the other day, and I was like, sure, and then I didn't think about it anymore, and then this arrived. Oh, she's wrapped it. Oh my gosh, why are my friends so nice? Whenever I send stuff, I just chuck it in an envelope. Oh, there's like multiple stuff. Oh, and a card. Okay, let's do the card first. I apologise for the fact this clip is so long, but I guess you guys have come to expect that by now. Oh, she's so cute. Sending sunshine your way. That is adorable. She said, Victoria, hi, my lovely friend. Sorry that everything has been a bit rubbish recently. I saw the book and it made me think of you, so hope it brings a little sunshine your way. Sending lots of love, Charlie. This is, I don't know what I was expecting her to send me, but it wasn't this. Let's open this one first because it's squishy. It kind of feels like a face mask, maybe. I love this paper. Gosh, presents, wrapped presents as well. Yeah, face mask. Lovely. This is one of the Moisture Bomb sheet masks. Our bath is currently broken, which is heartbreaking. The plug is broken on it. It's not one on a chain before anyone says, but hopefully it'll be fixed this week. So I haven't had a bath for ages. I've had showers, we've got showers. But this is a lovely little treat. Okay, and then I assume this is a book then from her note. But it's like, it's tiny. What is this? She's wrapped it very well. There's a lot of sellotape on here. Here we go. Okay. Woo. This This is so cute. 100 Secret Thoughts Cats Have About Humans by Celia Haddon. I love this. This is so cool. Want to know what our cats really think about us? Cat behaviour expert and best-selling author Celia Haddon reveals 100 ways our favourite felines work out our weird behaviour and so gain more cat power over us. The perfect book for cat lovers, but don't let your cats know. Stav's literally just here watching me like she's going to give away all our secrets. This is the cutest little thing. Thank you so much, Charlie. That's really brightened my day. Oh, that's so funny. I'm going to really enjoy flicking through this. Thank you so much. Okay, I am going to go and finish up my chores, make something delicious and nutritious for dinner, and then try and relax before I go back to work for the craziness that is tomorrow. It's the 9th of July and we are just having the nicest little weekend. We are celebrating our wedding anniversary this weekend. It was actually on the 30th of June. Been married 5 years, which is really lovely. But we had Charlie last weekend and so we're celebrating this weekend. As you saw from the B-roll, we went to the Ivy yesterday, which was absolutely wonderful. They opened up a branch in Bath, so we went there, which is the first time we've been there. It was absolutely stunning. The food was delicious. It was expensive. It was a fancy meal. Like, we're not going to be in there every 10 minutes. But it also felt really comfortable and kind of relaxed. And the interior, as you saw from the B-roll, was absolutely stunning. So we had a really, really lovely time. We also exchanged gifts, which was naughty of both of us because the traditional gift for the 5th anniversary is wood. And so a couple months back, we bought some new wooden furniture for the garden, bought a couple of lounges and a little like side table thing. And we agreed that that would be it, and that we'd also obviously split the cost of going out for lunch, and that would be it, and we would just do cards otherwise. And both of us thoroughly ignored that particular deal that we made. I got him a little plaque thing. I'll put a picture up somewhere, which has got our wedding date on it and our names, and I just really liked it because we, if you don't know, got married in the Botanical Gardens in Bath. I'll put a link to our wedding film in the description if you're interested in that. I obviously didn't film that. The amazing Aaron filmed that for us on the day. But yeah, I'll put a link to that if you're interested. And we got married in the park. So it's the plaque that I got him. It's got our names, our wedding date on it. And then it's got like leaves and flowers and stuff around the outside. So I was really pleased with that. He got me the necklace that I am currently wearing, which has got this beautiful wooden heart on it, which is just so tactile, and I feel like you guys are going to see a lot of it because I feel like I'm just going to wear it all summer. He also bought me a wooden pen that's got 5 like marks on the side, which I thought was a really subtle, really nice gift. And then he also went on my wish list and he chose One Road In by Hannah R. Palmer, who is also here on Booktube. She's on AuthorTube/Booktube. Anyway, Hannah's absolutely lovely. I read her debut, which was number 47, I think it says in here, which was a thriller horror book. She's a thriller horror author. Yeah, number 47. Last year, and really enjoyed it. And this was the one that she put out this year, which has got a really cool cover. It was the cover that drew him in. He was like, I just went on your wish list and had a little look at the covers and picked one. So yeah, this will be really fun, I'm sure. So I'm going to be picking that up shortly. It's also blue, which will help for the amazing readathon prompts. So you might well see me read this in August. So that was really lovely and kind and thoughtful as him as always. And yeah, we're just having a really lovely weekend. Like I said, we went to the Ivy yesterday, had a little wander around Bath, and then today we went out for brunch, because as we all know, the best kind of breakfast is second breakfast. So, you know, we went for a little mooch, went into Waterstones briefly. I didn't buy anything. It's just nice to kind of just have a look at the books. So yeah, we've been hanging out, which is really lovely. And then I might have said this already, but next week I've got 4 teaching days, and then Friday is hopefully, depending on the weather, sports day, or it will be a 5th teaching day. I'm really hoping that we can do sports day. So that's this week. And then the week after that is camp, and then we're done. So we're getting there. I have got 2 books that I finished, and like a mini thing that I read that doesn't really count as a book. I bought some stuff, and then I've had 2 Amazon parcels arrive. So I thought I would just sit and chat and show you these, and we can talk it through together. So let's do stuff I bought first. So as I've already said, I'm taking part in the amazing readathon with Brie from 4 Paws in a Book in August. And so I thought I would do like a little spread in my book diary. I never really want to call it a book journal because that's not what it is. So I bought some like travel stickers. So I got these from Amazon for like £2. Obviously, I don't know at the moment which countries we're going to, but this has got a whole load of different ones. So we've got Canada, we've got New York, we've got like general like travel-y ones. I thought this would be fun to like just put into my book journal, book diary, whatever, book record, for my readathon kind of tracking, I guess. I might just create a tracker. But yeah, I thought that'd be fun. And for a couple £, I was like, yeah, I love those. So I had those. And then yesterday or the day before, this came out. So this is Taylor Swift's version of Speak Now. This is Speak Now Taylor's version. I feel like I don't need to tell you what this is. I don't like downloading music. I prefer to have a physical CD. So this will go in my car now. So I probably won't read any more audiobooks this month because I'll just be listening to this. But I'm very, very excited for this. Speak Now and Red are my 2 favourite Taylor Swift albums. So I'm very excited to have this in my hands. And this has also got 6 songs from the vault. So 6 never before released tracks on it. And yeah, I'm just very, very excited about this. And I'm glad it's here. And I can listen to it on my way to school tomorrow, which will help boost me into my Monday morning. And then books. So I sat and read / flick through. I've not included this because it's such a short one. But this is 100 Secret Thoughts Cats Have About Humans by Celia Haddon. You saw me open this. It must be earlier in this vlog. Mustn't it? Or the end of last month. I can't remember. Anyway, lovely Charlie sent me this. And it was really fun. And it's quite rude. I was going to give this to Charlie afterwards, but there's like a few naughty bits in this. But I think it's fun. And I really enjoyed sitting and going through that. And then this book arrived and I haven't spoken to you since. So I think I put it in B-roll, just a shot of the cover. But I also then sat and read it, gave it 5 stars, absolutely loved it. And that is Goddesses and Heroines by our very own Jean from Jean's Bookish Thoughts, illustrated by Katie Ponder. I love these books. I've got the whole series. I say I've got the whole series. They're in my school library because we have some copies that the school bought that I made my Hoff buy. And then we literally can't keep hold of them because the kids want them so much. So I also donated my copies too, which was the Greek myths and the Egyptian myths, which are the other ones that Jean has done. And this one is, as it says on the front, more than 80 legendary women from around the world. And as ever, just look at these images. They are gorgeously illustrated by Katie Ponder. And I just had the absolute best time. Look, there's the contents page. And it's split into 3 sections. So goddesses, magical beings, and mortals. And then you've also got a bit like about the myths. And I just had the best time reading this. I gave it 5 stars. I know it's for kids, but I learned some stuff. I think it's, really interesting. You've got a whole range of different places that these women are from, and like different cultures and all that kind of stuff. What I also really liked was like, this is the mermaids and water spirits that I've just flicked to, but on each person you've also got like the pronunciation guide, so how you say that name, and I love that that was included. So yeah, gave that 5 stars, had the best time with this. I will be putting it into the school library come September, and I'll be a bit sad for it to leave my collection, but I know the kids will be excited. So I finished that one. So that was a 5 star, and then I had a surprise 5 star, which was The Bride Test by Helen Huang. This is the second book in the Kiss Quotient series. Sorry, as ever, I've got probably a cat hair on my face. Reading this for Chloe's Helen Huang read along, and I wasn't expecting to love this as much as I did. I gave the first book, which is Kiss Quotient, 4.5 stars. This probably should be a 4.5 star, but I got so emotional by the end of it that I just gave it 5 stars. And they are not direct sequels, they are companion novels. So we see Michael and Stella from the first book. They do crop up in this a little bit when it was like really exciting to see them. But we're mostly focusing on 2 new characters. So we are following Esme, and we're following Kai. So Kai from the first book. So in the first book we followed Michael, his best friend is Kwan, and his little brother is Kai. And now we're following Kai himself. And Kai has autism, and has trouble with feeling his emotions. And so his mother decides, because he's now in his 30s and he's unmarried, that she's going to find him a wife. So she goes to Vietnam, where she meets Esme, and she persuades Esme to basically come to America with her, and gives her the summer and says, look, if you can make him fall in love with you and marry you by the end of the summer, then you can stay. And Esme is living in poverty in Vietnam, and she has a daughter, and so she agrees to try this out. She moves in with Kai. There are obviously lots of things that go wrong at first, and then it's about how their relationship progresses, let's put it that way. I really loved this because Esme herself, there is so much character development. Like, she is so different from the end to the start, and I loved watching that journey. I loved watching her and Kai's relationship. Much like Kiss Quotient, this is very adult and very steamy, but what I really liked is that Kai is a virgin in this, and it's not treated as a huge plot point. It's just part of who he is. I also really liked that that there are a couple of sex scenes in this, but the first time, this is a mild spoiler, the first time that they're together, it doesn't go very well, and I really liked how realistic that was and how they then had to kind of work to overcome that. So I really enjoyed all of that stuff. And like I said, by the end, I was so emotionally invested and cheering for both of them, and I just absolutely loved it. So I had to give it 5 stars, even though I would say the beginning bit is a little bit slow. I feel like you can see the progression of Helen Huang's writing in this, and it's making me really excited to pick up the 3rd book, which I cannot remember the name of right now, but we'll be reading in August. So yeah, really enjoyed that surprise 5 star, which, as you guys know, is always my favourite kind of 5 star. I feel like when a book is a 5 star and you don't expect it to be, it's almost better than an expected 5 star. So anyway, that was good. I'm having a very good reading month thus far. And then we've got 2 parcels. So thank you so much to whoever sent me these. Let's open these up. I'll do the disclaimer now, and then I won't say it again, because I'm not assuming I'm going to get any more presents in the month, but I felt like I was watching back my June vlog before I went up the other day, and I was like, I feel like I was repeating myself. But let's say it now. I do not expect it. You guys do not have to do it. It's, you know, always a wonderful surprise, and I very much appreciate it, but yeah, I don't expect it. You don't have to do it. Okay, let's see what this is and who it's from, because also it's a really weird shape. This is definitely from my wish list, but like, what is, yeah, I'm confused. Okay, let's open this. Let's see what this is together. If I can actually get into the box, that would be good, wouldn't it? Okay. Gift note first, please. Oh, from Amelia. Just a little something, summary and lovely for passing your final teaching observation. Huge well done from Amelia. I'm assuming that's Amelia from Amelia Barlow Books. So what has she sent me? Oh yes, excellent choice. I need these. I've just literally run out. So this is Burt's Bees. It's my favourite lip balm. And this is the summer one, I think. And we've got the Garden Party, which is beeswax. We've got dragon fruit, we've got strawberry, and we've got tropical pineapple. So yeah, absolutely love it. Oh, it might have been easier if I just opened that. Isn't that such a cute little gift set? I love Burt's Bees lip balms. They're the only ones that I use, and I'd actually just run out of my last one, so that's very well timed. So thank you very, very much. Lovely, Amelia. Okay, and then, oh, that also makes sense with the shape of it, what it was. Ooh, off in one. Lovely. Okay, let's see if we can... Oh, it's a hardback, naked hardback. I can't find a gift note though. Oh, hang on, here we go. No, that's a receipt. Oh, gift note. Oh, this is from Lisa. She said, "Hi lovely, wanted to get you something to enjoy in the summer break. You deserve a good rest and some much needed time in the hammock with a good book." That's literally, I'm travelling quite a bit, but like when I'm at home, that's where I'll be. Much love to you from Lisa. Thank you so much, Lisa. What have you chosen? It's a hardback. Excellent choice. This is Midsummer Mysteries, which is one of the seasonal quartet. I've got my brother got me the Midwinter Murder, which is up on my shelf because I read that in the winter. And then this is the next one. So I think this is 12 Agatha Christie. Who's Agatha Christie? Agatha Christie's short stories, but they are like summer themed. Also, it's blue. So again, for the amazing readathon, this is going to be perfect. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to read this. It's also so beautiful. Look at the end page. I just caught sight of the end pages. These books are so gorgeous. I also love, I don't know what you guys think, I love a naked hardback that's this pretty. Like, it's gorgeous. So thank you so much, both ladies. I've got lip balm now and a very pretty book to read. So that's delightful. So thank you for that. Spoiled as ever. Right now I'm going to whip through my chores as fast as possible. Our bath got fixed yesterday or the day before the plumber came. So hopefully by now I can use it because we have to, like, I don't know, reseal something. So we had to wait for that to dry. So I'm hoping to have a bath. And then I'm going to get on the bath and read. No, I don't read in the bath. I'm going to get on the sofa, relax, read, and try and prepare myself for what is effectively the last week of term. It's the 12th of July, so it's Wednesday, I want to say. I don't usually film in the week during term time because, one, I look like this after a full day of teaching. Also, I won't show it because I know people are a bit like, might not like seeing wounds, but Sav's just clawed my finger open for literally no reason. She asked for strokes, I gave her strokes, she savaged my hand, and now it's like sore. So yeah, I don't usually film in the week during term time because I look like this after a full teaching day, and also because I'm usually even less coherent than I am at weekends, and I like to try and give good reviews of books on my channel, which is the point. However, I finished a book last night that I need to record a review for ASAP because it's my lowest rated book of the year and I feel like I need to rant about it and I don't want to forget my feelings. So I wanted to film a clip for that. And also 3 parcels arrived for me over the last couple of days, and I would like to open those and see what's inside them. So we're going to film this. It's now like 7:30 at night. I have 4 lessons to teach tomorrow, and then we've got sports day on Friday, which was supposed to be all day and is now just in the afternoon, so I have an extra 4 lessons than I thought I was going to have to teach. So we've got 8 lessons between me and the end of the school year because camp does not count for teaching, and I am counting the seconds because I'm very tired. So yeah, let's do the review for this book. So I'm going to split this review into 2 parts, which I don't usually do, but I can't talk about my feelings about this book properly without spoilers. So I'm going to do a non-spoiler section first, then I will put a spoiler picture up here because now I know how to do that. To completely change my life. Thank you so much, Charlie, again for teaching me how to do it. I will put a spoiler picture up here, and then when the spoiler picture goes away, you'll know it's safe to come back if you don't want spoilers. And I feel bad for the fact I gave The Twyford Code by Janice Hallett 2 stars. So this is Janice Hallett's second book. Her first book was The Appeal. Her third book was The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels. I gave The Appeal 5 stars, loved it, absolutely loved it. Want to reread it next year to check it is actually a 5-star. And The Alperton Angels, I think I gave like a 4.5. I didn't have quite the emotional response to that one as I did to The Appeal. I had skipped over this one because I had heard almost universally negative reviews of this book. And then Charlotte read it, gave it 4.5 or 5 stars and loved it. And she really wanted me to read it, and we agreed that she would read Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson in exchange because she'd been umming and ahhing over that book I'd recently read and loved it. So we did an exchange. She gave HMRC 5 stars, is completely obsessed. I read this and I gave it 2 stars, and that might even be a bit generous. So basic premise before we get into spoilers. We're following a guy called Steve who's just got out of prison. When he was a kid, he found a book by an author called Edith Twyford. I forgot the first name there for a second. Who is clearly an Enid Blyton type figure. And he took it to school and he gave it to his English teacher, who was very excited to see it because she told him, or someone told him, that there was a code in Twyford's books. That teacher then took them out for the day on a school trip. And that teacher didn't return home. So Steve is now out of prison and he is recording voice notes, because Janice Hallett always does like alternative like layouts and stuff. So it's all in voice notes as he tries to track down the Twyford code. That's the basic premise. And it says on the front, it's time to solve the murder of the century. And that is the premise. And my kind of non-spoiler review is, like, before we get into spoilers, I gave it 2 stars. The initial premise was interesting. And the format was interesting. I just didn't connect to it emotionally. I found it quite boring in places. I think that if you are someone who is dyslexic, I think you'll probably struggle with this. I'm dyslexic myself, and because it's all voice notes, so there are certain things that are misspelt because it's supposed to have been run through some sort of like voice recognition software, and so obviously it's misspelling certain things. So I found that quite hard work. So yeah, I didn't love it. Here endeth the non-spoiler part, because like I said, I can't really give you my real thoughts and feelings on this book without spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, click on to the next bit where I'm opening these parcels from these wonderful humans, or the next bit of B-roll or whatever, because if you don't want any spoilers on this, I'm really going to go into spoilers. So this is your warning. Just going to give them a few seconds to click off if they need to. Okay, so it's quite rare that I rate a book lower than 3 stars, because usually I would DNF it. And this book is a classic example of why you should DNF books, because I knew 50 pages in that I was bored. I should have walked away at that point. I didn't, because Charlotte and I had made a trade and I wanted to see through my part of the bargain. But I should have DNF'd this. I should have, because it was a complete waste of my time. I didn't enjoy it at all. The only reason it got 2 stars is because it wasn't actually offensive. And I finished reading it. That's literally the only reason it got as many as 2 stars. There are 2 reasons why this book particularly annoyed me. The first one is that it says on the front, it's time to solve the murder of the century. There is no murder in this book. The teacher is not killed. She's not murdered. She's just taken another job at a different school. That's all. She's just moved on with her life. That's the whole centre of the mystery. There is no murder. Secondly, there is no Twyford code. It's all a front for Steve's illegal activities and the things that he's doing. And that just really annoyed me, because it was just like the whole premise of this book. It was almost, and not quite, but it was almost. And then it was all a dream. And then they woke up. Like, that is that kind of territory that we're in. And I could have thrown this across the room when I realised the reveal. I really, really, really didn't like it. Really angered me. And it's not often, if you guys watch my content, it is not often that I give negative reviews, but this was bad. This was just not good, in my opinion. I mean, on the flip side, it is a good example of why I should give authors more than one try, because if I picked this up first as my first Janet Hallett, there is no way I would have read anything else by her. So I guess it shows that, you can't judge an author on one book. If this is the only Janet Hallett book you've read, please read The Appeal. It is so much better, as is Alberton Angels. But this will probably be my worst rated book of the year, because usually I would have DNF'd. So yeah, there's no murder and there's no code. What is the point of this book? I don't know. Maybe I missed the point, because clearly some people have really loved this. So if you've read this and loved it, I would genuinely be really interested to know why, like what it was that worked for you, because this did not work at all for me. So yeah, bye-bye to this book, because I'm at a point where I don't even want to look at it. This is why I only keep books that I give 4 or 5 stars, because I don't want stuff on my shelf where I'm like, well, I hated you as I walk past. There's no murder. No, I feel like, and I know there's a big fish on the front. I feel like this book catfished me. and I did not enjoy. Okay, moving on to what I'm sure will be far more positive. Let's open some parcels, because like I said, I have 3 of them here, and I don't know why. I mean, it's because you lot are lovely humans. I've already given the disclaimer in this video, so I won't give it again, but thank you so very much to whoever these people are that have decided to treat me. This is a very nice thing to come home to, especially after a particularly stressful Wednesday. But anyway, I'm not going to start complaining about school stuff because we are nearly there. I also got told today that I could drive to camp. They need somebody to drive, so we've got a car in case like something happens with one of the kids. And I'm the one that's allowed to drive, so that's great because it gives me a little bit more freedom, which is always nice. Right, let's find a gift note first. Oh, is that it there? Yes. Oh, a gift from lovely Patsy Oddsocks. It's such a great name. I love your content, especially your monthly blogs. I enjoyed this book and hope you do too. Thank you so much. Let's see what this is. Okay, let's open this together. Ooh, okay. How to Kill Men and Get Away with It by, who are you by? Katie Brent. I don't know why I'm still holding this. Let's put that down. This is such a great cover. I don't actually know anything about this except I caught the title and I was like, that sounds fun. So let's see. Meet Kitty Collins, friend, lover, killer. He was following me, that guy from the nightclub who wouldn't leave me alone. I hadn't intended to kill him, of course, but I wasn't sorry when I did. And despite the mess I made, I appeared to get away with it. That's where my addiction started. I got a taste of revenge, and quite frankly, I'm killing it. A deliciously dark, hilariously twisted story about friendship, love, and murder. So thank you so much, Patsy. I've got hiccups. This looks really fun, and that's going to go straight onto like my summer TBR, possibly. I mean, we'll see how many books. I mean, I think last August I read like 26 books or something. So I'm sure I can fit it on. But I would just really enjoy this cover. Thank you so much. That was an excellent choice. Okay, let's see what's in these other ones. So, can we get one that we're actually just going to... Yes. Open. Lovely. Okay, gift note again. Please and thank you. Okay, gift note. Oh, this is from Elaine and Sushi the cat. I love that detail. Also, Sushi is an excellent name for a cat. Hope this finds you feeling much better. Wishing you the absolute best summer break. Take care, from Elaine and Sushi the cat. Thank you so much. This is really kind of you again. What have you gone for? I'm always like so intrigued to see what people choose from my wish list. Oh, this is definitely going to be high up on the TBR. I just saw this on Brianna. I think it was her from Four Paws in a Book. Somebody was talking about this. This is The Chaperone by M. Hendricks. In New America, girls are never alone. I think it's like a kind of dystopian Handmaid's Tale type story. Again, this is a great cover. Like everyone see, this is why I don't record at weekends. Weekends during the week. Like every young woman in New America, Stella knows the rules. Embrace purity, navigate the world with care, respect your chaperone. I'm intrigued. I haven't read a good dystopian for ages, so I'm hoping that this will be a good one. And yeah, I'm very excited for this. Okay. We're on a roll. I mean, they're all books that I want to read because they're on my wish list. But that's one that I've been eyeing for a little bit. I almost bought it myself the other day, actually. But thank you for providing it for me. I very much appreciate. And let's do this last one. Let's hold this up a bit more. Ooh, why is my framing awkward today? Because I am tired, is why. Oh, off in one. We all know how pleasing that. Oh, this is a hardback. Okay, who's sending me hardbacks? From Grace. Thank you, Grace. Thank you for your wonderful videos. I always look forward to your wrap-ups. Thank you. I hearing that people like my wrap-ups, obviously I put effort into all my content, but my wrap-ups in particular, I feel like are that little bit more personal than my like sit down. I know I'm sat down doing a video now, but you know, like my other videos. And also because they're always so flipping long. So I always really appreciate it when people say they like them, because every time I upload them, I'm like, it's too long, no one's going to watch it. And then you guys are always super lovely, so thank you. I hope July is kinder to you. I hope July is kinder to you than June, from Grace. Thank you very much, Grace. And so far, yes, it is, which is, you know, a relief. Right. Oh, I've just spotted what this is. Another one, Briefly a Delicious Life by Nell Stevens. Again, I almost bought this the other day. Is this the one with... Yes. So this one, I saw Emma from Drinking by My Shelf. Really loved this. I feel like it was earlier in the year. She's also not making videos anymore, which makes me sad. Although she is still fronting book breaks. If you want to see her chat about books, you can see her there. And this is where we've got it's historical fiction that's narrated by a ghost, I think. Heady with the delicious scent of the Mediterranean, richly witty and utterly compulsive, Briefly a Delicious Life is a story about convention and breaking convention, about love, yearning, secret, forbidden, unrequited, and about men and women and the cruelty they mete out to one another. I mean, this sounds like it's going to be great. Let's have a quick look at the hardback. Oh, we know how much I enjoy a black hardcover. So yes, I'm very excited for this one. Thank you very much. This is a very exciting stack of books because we've got an historical fiction, which I think it's queer historical fiction. And like, I think Emma said it was queer and weird. And I was like, yes, please. We've got a dystopian, and I haven't read a good dystopian in ages. So let's hope this is a good one. And then a kind of fun contemporary murder book, if we can call them that. So yeah, look at these spines all together as well. This is a very pleasing stack. Thank you so much to the lovely humans that send me books. I really, really appreciate it. For now, it is like 8 o'clock, so it's literally my bedtime now. I'm so tired. Because tomorrow's going to be another hectic day, as is Friday. And then Saturday, we've got the entire, like, all my in-laws and my grandma coming over for my brother-in-law's birthday, which will be fun. But it's like full on because I have to cook a roast for everybody. Sunday will be a brief pause, and then Monday I am off to camp for a week with 111 to 14-year-olds because I'm clearly a sucker for punishment. But yeah, for now I'm going to go and get into bed and try and get a little bit of rest before the chaos of tomorrow unravels. It's the 16th of July and I think I might be in a reading slump. It's been a few days since I spoke to you. I have got a book that I finished, which I'll review in a second. I just wanted to catch you up on what we've been doing first. So we had, when did I speak to you? Tuesday, I think it was. So I have now finished teaching for the year, which is an amazing feeling. We did sports day on Friday, or like Friday afternoon, really. Which was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. You know, I think I said before it was my first one as a teacher, so I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but mostly it was just very loud. I had to be inside because it just rained torrentially all day. So it was inside, so it was super loud, but it was really good fun. And now I just have a week of camp to go, I leave tomorrow. I am very anxious about it. I'm feeling really anxious about leaving Gary for a week. Which is a bit of a problem given that I'm away like most of the summer. For 2 of the weeks I'm with him, because we've got a week by ourselves and then our family week with Charlie. But yeah, I'm feeling a little bit about being away from him because he does really like just steady me and make me feel content and happy and all the stuff that your partner should do. But yeah, I'm just feeling a little bit wibbly wobbly about it. I'll probably be fine as soon as we get there tomorrow. But my reading's been really off this week, and like I haven't really, since I finished Twyford Code, I haven't really wanted to sit down and read. I found reading really slow, and I also haven't really been listening to my audiobook. So I think Twyford Code put me in a bit of a slump, and I picked up a book that I thought would be a 5-star read, and I've given it 3.5. So it wasn't a bad book, but it also wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be. And that's Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. This is really kindly gifted to me by Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe. And in her lovely note, she sent it, I can't remember when she sent it, a little while ago, I think. It just says, "Hi Victoria, I thought to send you a little something just because you're wonderful and I wanted to remind you of that," which was so lovely of her. But this, yeah, it just wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. So we're following Dorothy, who is writing from prison. She's a serial killer and she is also a cannibal. She's killed and eaten parts of 5 men. think it's 5 men, and she's telling you her story, and it starts in her childhood with her parents, and talking about how she kind of doesn't experience the world the same as other people. She doesn't really have emotion, all of that kind of stuff, but her mother is really into food, and Dorothy becomes a huge foodie, and she ends up being a food writer for various magazines in New York, which is also where Chelsea G. Summers' experience is. This is her first novel, but she is a professional writer, writing for various magazines, and then Dorothy kind of starts killing men, and it's about what happens. This, I would say, is like Sweet Pea without the sense of humour. I feel like parts of the writing in this were definitely 5 stars. Some of the writing is absolutely beautiful. The food writing, when she's talking about normal food, not cannibal food, is absolutely perfect. It's beautiful. It makes you hungry. You can really taste what she's tasting. It's just incredible writing. But the bits in between were really, really choppy, I thought. And it's just, like I said, it's like Sweet Pea but without the sense of humour. It's also very graphic, both in terms of the murders that she's committing, the cannibalism, but also sex as well. The two things are very linked for her. So it's very, very graphic in all of those areas. She talks in detail also about the process of slaughtering animals for meat. There's a whole like 10 pages where she basically walks through an abattoir and she's describing everything she sees, hears and smells. So be aware of that. I also need to give a content warning for death of a parent, which is also very graphic. She doesn't kill a parent, but the process of dying is very detailed in this. So just be aware if you're going to pick this up, because there's no warnings anywhere. So yeah, it was grisly, and I like dark stuff, as you guys know, but I kind of got to the end and I wasn't sure what the point was or what the author was trying to say. It's also not told, like the murders aren't told in turn, and it moves back and forth in time, and it's really confusing because you're not quite sure which man she's talking about. And it's only at the end where you kind of see the escalation of what she was doing, but that isn't a plot twist or a reveal, so I wasn't sure what the point was of kind of skipping in and out of time. It was, yeah, bits of this I loved, bits of this were 5 stars, but I was also a little bit bored in places. It felt a little bit preachy occasionally, and yeah, I feel like it just slightly lost its way. I think this would have been a lot better as a short story of like 100 pages instead of 320 pages. So there's my thoughts on that. So I'm feeling very mediocre about reading. I'm really hoping the next book that I pick up will be better. I'm nervous about going to camp. There might be a tiny bit of B-roll. Obviously I can't film anything with the kids in, and I wouldn't. But I might be able to get some B-roll. I am driving down in my own car, so I might treat myself to a McDonald's breakfast tomorrow, because the coach will stop part way, whereas I might do my stop at the beginning and then get there at the same time as the coach. Just have a little breather in the morning once I've got the kids on the coach. I am driving down. I'm taking my car down because we need somebody's car, and that was me. And I think the staff have got their own rooms this time, so I might be able to like do a little bit of B-roll of that. But in all likelihood, well, the next time I sit down and chat to you will definitely be next weekend, once camp is done and I am officially on holiday. the 21st of June. No, it's not. It's the 21st of July, and I survived camp. Woohoo! We are now also officially on summer holidays, although it doesn't feel like it because I don't know if you can see the weather behind me. It's chucking it down today. We've got to love it, English summer. So camp was really good. It was exhausting. I got back last night and ran myself a bath and cried in the bath. I think out of like sheer exhaustion, it happens to me at the end of every school year. It's that like exhaustion, the relief that it's done. It's just all the emotions like coming home because I hate being away from Gary and like all of that stuff. And so yeah, I did have a little cry in the bath last night. But camp was good. We did 20 activities with the kids over 5 days. So we took 50 of them. We were down in Torquay. We were at Barton Hall, which was absolutely fantastic. So if you're in the UK or even if you're abroad, there were students from all over the world there, and you're looking for somewhere to do a residential trip, I would highly recommend it. They were fantastic. Everything was really clean and tidy. The staff were incredible. Everything was really well run and really well thought out. The food was great. They covered, had loads of different options for all of the different kids and different, dietary requirements and tastes and all that kind of stuff. And the activities were fantastic. So we've had a really good 5 days. And like I said, we did 20 activities over the 5 days. I won't bore you with all of them, but we did things like orienteering, abseiling, wall climbing. They have what's called a giant swing, which I did not go on. I also didn't do the abseiling because I'm a wimp with height. They went in the swimming pool. What else did we do? They did problem solving. We did airable, which is really fun. It's basically netball on a trampoline. Really fun, like my new favourite thing. We also did rifle shooting. Turns out I'm a pretty good shot. I didn't know that. I think I've only shot a gun like once when I was a kid and did clay pigeon shooting with my dad. So that was quite fun. And axe throwing, which I highly recommend. I love that. It was a good like stress reliever as well. So we did all of that, and they also had like a campfire on the last night, and we did like capture the flag, and there was just loads going on. So it was very, very busy few days. As you can hear from my voice is wrecked from corralling my group of 9 teenagers for a week. They were mostly really well behaved, and it was just a really nice way to finish the year. I can't lie though, I drove my car down in case like we had any medical emergencies while we were there. Turned out the only emergency we had was that they didn't have enough marshmallows for the campfire on the last night, so me and Lisa had to run out of the car to the nearest Sainsbury's to get some more. But it meant that I could drive straight home yesterday. I didn't have to go on the coach. So I can't lie, like waving goodbye to the kids as I drove past yesterday afternoon was quite a nice moment. And I like listened to an audiobook all the way up, and then I drove in silence most of the way home because it was just like, wow, that is intense. Because obviously there's no downtime. And the benefit of Barton Hall for the staff, apart from the fact that the staff there were incredible, is we all had our own rooms with an ensuite. Where we were last year, we had to share rooms. We were in rooms of 2, and we had 1 bathroom between the 10 staff. So it was nice to have my own space to retreat to, but I was barely in my room because like the kids were up really late. So we were spending a lot of time like making people go back to bed and turning music off and turning lights off and all that kind of stuff. So I got a couple of hours of sleep all night, all week. So yeah, I'm exhausted, but it was a really good week. I'm also going to show a bruise that I picked up doing tag archery. So I know some people don't like them. So if you don't like it, look away, and I'll try and keep my arm like out of shot for the rest of the clip. But I did pick up a massive bruise on our second day. It doesn't hurt. It hasn't hurt at all. I do bruise like a peach. I sometimes get comments on videos because I quite often have like small bruises on my arms that look like finger marks. They're not. They're just where, because I'm dyspraxic, it's just where I bump into stuff constantly. But I did pick up a corker of a bruise, which actually a few days later, this is what, like 4 days later, is already healing. It's been like a variety of colours. The kids were fascinated to see what colour Mrs. Bruise was each day. But it's from archery tag, just from pulling the bow back. We did have like gauntlets on our arms, but mine clearly was not long enough. So I'm going to show you this bruise. So this is your content warning. If you don't want to see the bruise, just skip until I'm holding a book in my hand, because it looks like this. So yeah, bruised me up real good. It was worth it because I won the archery tag. So yeah, that's what's going on with my arm. Like I said, it doesn't hurt. But I did finish 2 books while I was there. I had started both books before I went. And I think, like I said, the benefit was we all had our own rooms. So like last year, I couldn't like leave the light on to read because I didn't want to disrupt Lisa, who I was sharing a room with. Whereas this year, I could obviously do what I wanted. And I actually ended up, I set my alarm during term time is 5:45, and I just kept that alarm on this week because it was nice just to have half an hour or so before I had to like get up and get moving for the day. And the day started at 7:30. Like we were still awake often, like past 1 o'clock in the morning. So it was long days, but it was worth getting up just to have that like half an hour to sit and be silent and read a little bit. And so obviously I wasn't disturbing anybody because I was in my room. So I did finish 2 books, which I'll talk about. I've also been sent 3 books by various publishers, which is lovely of them, so thank you to them. And I've also got a parcel from Chloe to open as well, so which I've like cut the envelope open because she's secured it very, very well with tape. But I haven't obviously like looked in it yet, so we'll open that together. So as always, I'll go in the order that I finished these books. The first book that I finished was The Chaperone by M. Hendricks. This was gifted to me by a very lovely human last month. Who was it? Oh yeah, Elaine and Sushi the cat. Or this month. I think it was this month actually. I thought this was an appropriate book to take on camp where I was chaperoning all week. I heard Brianna at Four Paws on a Book talk about this in a recent book call, and she was excited to read it. She's since read it and given it quite a low rating. But I quite enjoyed this. This is YA dystopian, although it's definitely the top end of YA. There is, just in case you're thinking of picking this up, there is a use of the C word in this. And I was a bit like, is this really YA or is it more like new adult? Anyway, it's a dystopian book, and as it says on the front, in New America, girls are never alone. And we are following Stella. And she lives in New America. There's been some kind of civil war. And girls are no longer allowed to be alone. Girls have had like all of their rights stripped from them. They still go to school and they're still allowed to read and write, but then, you know, not allowed to be. It's a very kind of puritanical type setup. And her chaperone, who she's had since she got her period at 12 years old, she's 18 in the book, dies. And she gets a new chaperone, and this new chaperone seems to be a bit different. And that's all I'll really say. It was published this year, but it felt like a very like 2000s dystopian book in which a girl is living in a society and realises that it's not quite as it seems. That kind of story. I enjoyed this. Originally, I gave it 4 stars when I first finished it because it was fast paced. It was perfect for what I needed at the time. It was entertaining. I love a good dystopian. It definitely had like hints of kind of Handmaid's Tale, and I really liked Stella, and I was kind of rooting for her. Then I took a couple of days, and it's rare that I change a rating on a book, but I've put it down to a 3, so my official rating is a 3-star. I think this shows real promise, and I think this is M. Hendricks, the author's first novel. I would definitely read more from them, but there was a lot of telling rather than showing, and the ending I found quite annoying. Quite frustrating. I'm tired, so I'm not being as diplomatic as I might be otherwise. I just found the ending really abrupt and unfinished. And this is not a small book. This is over 400 pages. And I just felt like it didn't go far enough in certain places. But I still very much enjoyed it. So thank you to Elaine and Sushi for sending it to me. It was a perfect thing to take to camp. It was a kind of a fast, easy read. My brain didn't really need to be that engaged. So yeah, I would say if you're looking for YA dystopian, this is a solid one, although it does feel like it was written in the early noughties. I would just say that. So yeah, I would read more from the author in the future though. And then the second book that I finished is Ophelia After All by Raquel Marie. This was sent to me very kindly by Book Break, so thank you much to Book Break. I deliberately waited until the summer because look at this cover. Like, is that not the most summery cover you've ever seen? And it's also one that was my school read over the summer term. So I've technically been reading this since May, but I didn't even bother to put it on my GoodReads because I was literally reading 2 or 3 pages at a time. And I was about 50 pages in by the end of term because teachers don't get to read very much during library lessons. Surprise. So I decided to take this on camp with me as well as my other book. And I really enjoyed this. I gave this a 4.5 star. We are following Ophelia, as you can tell from the title, who is in her final year of high school in America. And it's basically about her and her friends coming to the end of high school and starting to figure themselves out and thinking about their next steps and who they want to be in the world. And I just really loved this. I was cheering for Ophelia. I really loved all the representation in this. There's a whole load of representation in terms of sexuality, but also her mother is white but her father is Puerto Rican. I can't talk today. So there's discussions of that as well. And it's about, like I said, it's about her kind of figuring herself out. And I really enjoyed this. I didn't get the emotional connection that I wanted and that I need for a 5-star, to give it a 5-star. But I feel like if you have young people in your lives, I feel like this would be a really good book to give them. This is going to go into my school library. There is some swearing in it, just be aware of that. But for a YA kind of coming of age story, I really enjoyed this. So thank you to Book Break for sending it to me. Okay, then speaking of Book Break, they have sent me, oh no, they haven't. Yes, they have. They sent me, I'll talk about that one last because that's the last one out. So let's talk about these in the order that they come out. Oh, that's a finished copy, I think. Anyway, so I was sent some books. So the first one was sent to me by the publishers, but I now can't see the publishing mark. Oh, this was Swashbuckler Press, which I think is a great name. And that is Over London by George Penney and Tony Johnson, and it's a Rain Agency investigation. This is a middle grade, I think, adventure story, and I'll read you a little bit from the back. It says, a rollicking comic fantasy whodunit with a Tudor twist. And then it's kind of telling you a little bit about the characters. So priests from Over London's church of vengeful acquisition are exploding. Is the cause divine retribution, ballistic undergarments, or something more sinister? If only the city had a professional private investigator. Luckily, notorious pirate turned privateer Captain Alex Rain has just narrowly escaped the hangman's noose to establish the Regency Agency in Drury Lane. She needs cash fast and will take any job, even if failure means facing an inconveniently messy end. But what's a little danger to a professional swashbuckler? Armed with nothing but her roguish wit, her reliably unreliable crew, and a rogue artificer experiencing a mortal crisis, Alex is convinced they'll have this crime solved and the reward pocketed by tea time. To solve their first case, all they must do is survive while navigating rampaging nuns, clockwork horrors, confectionery gangsters, piratical florists, malevolent urchins, military-grade statuary, weaponized blasphemy, and sexual whales. How hard can it possibly be? So yeah, this just sounds like it's going to be really good fun and a bit mad, which I enjoy. And I thought they were sending me an ARC, but this looks like a finished copy to me, which is very exciting. It does have the world's smallest text. I am not going to lie. Like, why is this text so small? But a huge thanks anyway to the publishers. I will be picking this up soon. I feel like this might be like a September type read because I'm reading Blue Books in August. And speaking of Blue Books, the lovely, lovely people at Canongate have put this in my hands. This is Family Law by Elizabeth Acevedo. This is her adult debut. I have read all of her YA books, and this comes out in August, 10th of August, 2023, this comes out. I don't even really know that much about it, except that it's Elizabeth Acevedo, 1, so I already want to read it. It's her adult debut, 2. And Hannah from Ladder M has absolutely been, like, shouting, screaming, raving about this book for the last week or so, and if she likes a book, I'm very likely to like it as well. So I'm very excited for this, and it's about a family coming together. I think there's a family gathering for a funeral. It says here, spanning the 3 days prior to the wake, Family Law traces the intertwining stories of these sisters and cousins, mothers and daughters, aunts and nieces, to ask the ultimate question: what does it take to live a good life for yourself and those you love? So yeah, I'm very excited to pick this up. It does come out in August, and usually I'd want to read it beforehand, but it's such a blue book, I feel like I need to save it for the readathon in August, but I will definitely be reading it then. So huge thanks to Canongate, and as usual, I've dropped it, so it's a bit scuffed, but anyway. And then finally, Book Break sent me this, and I think this was sent unsolicited because I don't remember asking for this. However, that doesn't mean I didn't. And this doesn't come out until next February, so I'll be reading this in January. But it's this. Look how fun this arc, these covers. It says, what antique would you kill for? And so the book is actually called The Antique Hunter's Guide to Murder by C.L. Miller, as you can see here. And it doesn't really say much. It says The Antiques Roadshow meets Indiana Jones in The Antique Hunter's Guide to Murder by C.L. Miller, the most riveting debut of 2024. So we'll find out about this together more in January. Again, it's got really small text. Like, why? So yeah, I'm excited to pick this up and give this a go. I feel like it's going to be like cozy mystery kind of vibes. And what antique would you kill for? I'm intrigued. So those are the books that I was sent. So thank you very, very much to those various publishers. And then the last thing I have to show you before I go away and do other things is this parcel from Chloe, which she's so cute. I know it's from her because it says it's got her return address on the front. So let's pull this out together. Whoa, okay, hang on. Oh, she's so cute. Okay, oh. Okay, let's do the card first. I've just clocked something that she sent and it's so cute. Okay. Let's, oh. It says thinking of you on the front. Why do I feel like this is going to make me cry today? Oh, and there's a teacher sticker in it. That's going to go straight on my teacher planner. She said, to Victoria, congratulations on getting yourself and the kids, of course, to the end of another school year. You're always in my mind, particularly during the more difficult time you've had, and I truly admire your strength and determination to get to the summer holidays. Now, give yourself time to breathe. Don't jam back 6 weeks of plans. Lots of love, Chloe. That's so lovely. And she knows me so well because I've got loads to do in the next 6 weeks. I've got loads of stuff planned. Fun stuff, but yeah. And, that's such a nice thing to do. And then she sent me this necklace. Is it a necklace or a bracelet? And it says, to the best teacher, it takes a big heart to help shape little minds. A great teacher is hard to find, but impossible to forget. I'm lucky to have a teacher like you. Thank you for helping me grow and learn. Look how cute this is. That's adorable. Thank you so much. And then she's also sent me some squashies because she knows I love these. And these are rhubarb and custard flavour. I don't think I've had these. So that's very exciting. So yeah, that seems like a very nice thing to end on this clip. Thank you, Chloe. I'll obviously have messaged you by now. That's really touched me. Thank you. What are we doing today? Today, as you can see, I'm dressed up. As you will probably have picked up on by now, I have precisely one going out top at the moment, which is something I need to sort out. We're going to see a friend of ours for lunch today at a pub not too far away, so that'll be nice. And then we're going to go to Tesco and buy some bits for dinner. And then I'm going to spend the next day and a half just lay on from when we get back and all tomorrow just reading and relaxing, and then I pick Charlie up on Monday for the first week of the summer holidays. It's the 25th of July and I'm still really tired. I also had my hair cut today, so that's why it's looking quite this neat. It won't look this neat probably for the rest of the video, because my lovely hairdresser, who's also called Victoria, just takes ages blow drying it, and I'm always like, don't worry about it because I won't do it at home, but she takes a lot of pride in it. So yeah, it is looking pretty good actually. I am keeping the blonde until the end of the summer, and then I think I'm going to go back to full brunette. But yeah, feeling very swish today. You can also see some of my greys coming through, but there we go. So update on the last couple of days. I can't remember when I last spoke to you. I think it might have been Sunday. So I picked Charlie up yesterday and we went for brunch, as we do at the start of every holiday. And then yesterday I was absolutely exhausted. Like, I felt like a really rubbish parent yesterday because he was just on his Xbox all day, which he loved. He had a really good day. But I was just so tired. I just could not get myself moving at all. I even fell asleep on the sofa for an hour, which I never usually do. So yeah, I was feeling fairly flumpy yesterday. If you can hear noises, he's obviously moving around upstairs. Yeah, I was feeling pretty flumpy yesterday and a bit down and a bit flat. I think it's also partly, as well as like all of the end of term stuff, it's because Gary was away yesterday and I hate it when he's away. So yeah, I was just feeling a bit meh. But I've woken up today with a bit more pep in my step. Like I said, I've been for a haircut. I went and got my car valeted, which for some weird reason is something that gives me a lot of anxiety, and I don't know what it's about, and I keep trying to work it out every time I go, but it just really, it takes me ages to psych myself up to do it. I've been meaning to have my car valeted since Easter, and it's now July. That's how long it's taken me to get it done. But the car is done now and it's squeaky clean and lovely to be in. I've had my hair cut. Charlie has been and had his summer fade shaved in, because they're not allowed fades for school, so he has it done the first week of summer holidays, so he now looks about 25. It really suits him, but man, he just looks so grown up. It's wild. So done all of that, and I've just been pottering around today doing stuff for Instagram. I think I've said it before, I'm very active on my Instagram. So if you fancy seeing my shenanigans there, the link is always in the description. Tiny plug. Okay, so I've got 3 books to talk about. There is one that I have rage DNF'd. We've already had one rant in this vlog. Now there's going to be a second one. A book that I finished today, and then some kind person, I think Marlene, has sent me something from my wish list. And I think it's Marlene because she messaged me on Instagram to let me know it was coming, because for some reason she couldn't put, like Amazon wouldn't let her do a gift note. So we'll see what that is in a minute. The book that I'm going to talk about that made me so angry was also gifted, and it's always super awkward. I always feel super awkward when I DNF books that have been gifted, even if it's just a DNF because like I was a bit bored or I wasn't kind of feeling it or whatever. But this book really annoyed me. I'm just checking it was. Yeah, it was the lovely Lisa. Lisa was kind enough to send me this book last month. So Lisa, if you're watching, I still really appreciate that you took the time out of your day and spent your money to send me a book, and it really, really did cheer me up, and it was so kind of you, so thank you so much. Obviously, what I'm about to say about this book is no reflection on you whatsoever, and I just want to make it really clear that I still really appreciate your kindness. So yeah, just before I get into this book. So I picked this book up, I was intrigued by it. 2 of my best Booktube friends have read it and enjoyed it, or at least on the surface had given it really good reviews. Given it a 4 or 5 star review, and I was like, great, okay. I was really in the mood for a thriller. I was intrigued by the premise, and then I read the first 50 pages, and to be honest, I was a bit bored. Didn't like the protagonist. She was kind of annoying. The mystery didn't really feel like much of a mystery once we got into it, and I just wasn't really feeling it. But I was like, we'll give it 100 pages and then I'll make a decision on how I feel about it. And then I got to page 64, and that's that. I know that's very precise, but I feel like it's going to be burned into my head forever. Page 64, here comes Sav. Hello, thank you, darling, it's very helpful. But on page 64, our protagonist, who I already wasn't vibing with, goes off on a massive rant about how rubbish teachers are. And at that point, I just wanted to throw the book across the room. Like, it's probably lucky that we don't have a fireplace in our house, because if a fire had been on, I might well have just chucked it on there, because I was so enraged. And I realised that's a very, like, me-specific problem, but I was just not happy. So I went onto Instagram and I was like, if you've read this book, can you tell me what the twist is, because I want to throw it across the room. I also messaged Chloe and Charlotte, who were the 2 friends that I'd seen read and enjoy it, and neither of them could remember the twist, and then they managed to like piece it together, and the twist was pretty rubbish. And the book that I'm talking about is Haven't They Grown by Sophie Hannah. And yeah, I rage DNF this. So the basic premise is we've got a woman called something, Beth, who has parked up outside her ex-best friend's house. She's not seen her ex-best friend for 12 years. You don't know why they're not talking. And she sees her best friend pull up in her car and get out with her kids, but the kids are still 3 and 5 like they were when she last saw them 12 years ago, which is obviously not possible. So it's all about her discovering how that happened. And like I said, I wasn't enjoying this book anyway in the first 50 pages, and then for the rant, the kind of anti-teacher rant about how useless and pointless basically teachers are, like that just finished me off. So yeah, I rage DNF this, would not recommend. And hilariously, since I posted on Instagram that I was DNFing this book, so many people, like probably a dozen people, messaged me to say, oh yeah, I read that and it was terrible, it was disappointing, or the author's problematic. I don't know the veracity of that, I haven't looked into that at all. But a few people have said that she's got problematic opinions. Which cat is that? Oh, of course it's Savannah again. Or that her other work is also not great. So yeah, we are done with Sophie Hannah. I would usually try and give an author more than one go, but just the way it was put and the way it came across, no, just absolutely not for me. And then the audiobook that I finished this morning, which I will put a picture of up here because I can't now. Still so tough with myself every time I do that. But I have also got it written down here because my memory's horrible. Was Conviction by Jack Jordan. I read this on audiobook, and it was narrated by Sophie Roberts, who did a fantastic job. I saw, again, it was Chloe. I saw Chloe was on the tandem read along for this like last month, recently. And I thought it looked interesting. And I also read Do No Harm by this author earlier on in the year and had quite enjoyed it in a kind of... It was a medical thriller. This one was a legal thriller in which we are following a character whose name has completely escaped me. Neve, I want to say. I think it's Neve, who is a barrister, top London barrister, and she's handed a case. She's a defence lawyer, and she's handed the case of a man who is accused of killing his wife and children and setting fire to their home. She takes it on at the last minute after the previous lawyer dies. And then she is approached a couple of days before the trial. She's approached by a man who tells her that she has to throw the case rather than defending her client. She has to make sure that he is found guilty. Otherwise, they will reveal a secret of hers. So it was quite an interesting premise, very, very similar to Do No Harm. So if you read that one and liked it, then I would suggest you read this one. Also, if you read Do No Harm and didn't like it, I wouldn't bother with this one because they are very much of the same style. It's kind of the same template. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. So to quote Chloe, it was fine. And to quote Eva from Pretty Purple Polka Dots, it was a book and I read it. I enjoyed the setup. I really enjoyed the actual courtroom stuff, which you get towards the end of the book. I always enjoy those kind of courtroom back and forth, like people, like witnesses come into the stand and lawyers arguing back and forth and closing arguments and all that kind of stuff. I always enjoy that bit. I just felt like for a thriller there weren't any twists, like, at all, really. I mean, the twist, you find out very quickly what Neve's secret is. And I thought that was a far more interesting thread to follow than the actual trial itself. I think also you find out very quickly who is behind the messenger, which is the person that approaches her. You find that out really quickly, and I felt like it could have been far more tense if we hadn't known that straight away. And at the very, very end, irritated me. So I kind of balanced it out. I liked bits of it, I didn't like other bits. I feel like Jack Jordan is an author that I wouldn't necessarily pick up physical copies, but if there are copies of his books on Scribd, I'll probably listen to them because they are easy listens. And like I said, Sophie Roberts did a beautiful job of the narration. So yeah, that was another book that I finished. I gave it 3 out of 5. It was fine. Okay, let's have a look at what's in this bottle without putting my address on the internet. And like I said, I'm pretty sure this is Marlene, but we will see in a second. And I'm excited to see what's been sent my way. So, oh gosh, it's hardback. Okay, let's just pull this out of the top. Ooh, wow, it's such a pretty cover. Okay, this is Sorrowland by Rivers Solomon. To be totally honest, I can't even remember. Is there a gift note in here? No. I cannot remember what this one is about, but I've read 2 by Rivers Solomon. Sorry, Molly's just popped up on the windowsill behind you and is now peering at me because she wants me to open the window. I will do it in a second. Yeah, I've read 2 by this author now and enjoyed both, so I was intrigued to read another one. And it just says, a triumphant genre-bending... Sorry, I'll try and hold it so you can see the beautiful cover. Genre-bending novel following a young woman through a nightmarish yet recognisable landscape as she attempts to create a new life for herself and her children. Oh yeah, is this the one? Yeah, so this is where a woman gives birth to twins alone in the woods, and then her body goes through some kind of metamorphosis. In the course of reclaiming her own darkness, Verne learns that monsters aren't just individuals, but entire histories, systems, and nations. River Solomon's Sorrowland is a memorable work of Gothic fiction that wrestles with the tangled history of racism in America and the marginalisation of society's undesirables. It is a searing, seminal book that marks the arrival of a bold, unignorable even voice in American fiction. So this looks so great. Thank you so much. Oh, and it's got a blue cover. We know what that means. I'm gonna be saving this for August. Honestly, my August pile of possibilities is massive. So thank you so much. I'm going to assume this was Marlene. If this was somebody else, can you let me know it was you? Gorgeous book, and it's blue, so you know that will go into the amazing readathon pile. What are we doing over the next few days? So tomorrow, Charlie and I are going lane swimming in the morning. He's got very into fitness and sport and stuff recently, which is really cool. So we're going to go lane swimming tomorrow. Molly, I will let you in a second. She's literally tapping the glass. So we're going to go lane swimming in the morning. Don't really have much else planned. We're going to go to Bath with his best friend on Friday. I'm just trying to rest and kind of slow down. It's really hard to go from 100 miles an hour to nothing. So I'm kind of trying to do it gradually, getting a few things done each day, but not too much. And let's hope that the weather picks up, because I'm going to Cornwall next week. And if it doesn't pick up, that will be interesting. It's the 26th of July and I've just been lane swimming with Charlie. We've had a really, really good morning. I won't lie, I was really nervous about being in a swimsuit in public because I haven't done that in a good like 5 years maybe. We are very spoiled and very lucky in that my aunt and uncle have a pool in their garden. So whenever we go swimming, we're just there, which obviously is not in public. So yeah, it's been a long time since I've been in a public swimming pool, and I was feeling a bit self-conscious, but actually it was absolutely fine. The pool was lovely. We had a really good time. Like, the only thing that happened by me being in a swimsuit in public was I had a great time with my kid. So there we go. But yeah, we swam for 40 minutes. I did 40 lengths, so I'm going to be in pain tomorrow. I can already, I feel really tired. But it was really good, and it's something that he wanted to do. And then we went and had early lunch at the lounge, which was around the corner from there, which was also really lovely. And yeah, now we've just come back and I'm going to shower and get a few bits and pieces done. I am also annoyingly peeling quite badly on my arm there. This is why you should wear sunscreen. But yeah, I've got some book stuff to talk to you about because I finished a book yesterday. The boys also surprised me with something I want to show you, and then I've had a bookish delivery. So let's do this. Let's go in the order that stuff happened. So I was minding my own business yesterday, reading on the sofa, and the boys came in looking shifty. And basically they had done a little box of goodies for me to celebrate the fact that I am now a fully qualified teacher. And I just thought I'd quickly show you. So this is the box that they've had printed for me. And any time that I have stuff from the boys, it has the short version of my name, Vicky, on it. And people are always like, oh, it's super weird. They are the only people pretty much, very close family. And the boys, obviously being my closest family, call me Vicky or Vic. So yeah, it says congratulations Vicky on it. It's so cute. And then inside it's literally full of goodies. So that's what it looks like. I'll quickly show you all the bits. Woo! And as usual, they are proving how well they know me. Right, sorry if that was just wiggled the camera. So first of all, we've got a cat card, obviously. So very proud of you. I'm really tired, I can't do cat voices. And they wrote me a lovely message, which obviously I will keep private. Then they got me 2 pairs of socks. Weird fun fact about me, I love being gifted socks, nice quality socks, I enjoy a lot. So they got me these bamboo ones, which are orange with the different cat faces on, obviously. And then they also got me bookish ones. So it says, so many books, so little time, and you've got the bookcase on there, and there's also a cat just there as well. So I'm very excited to run those through the wash and then wear them. They also got me a voucher for bubble tea, which is very exciting because Charlie and I are taking his best mate Jack into Bath on Friday, so I'll be able to spend a good chunk of that. They got me this teacher chocolate, which is made up of all the different labels. I think the actual chocolate inside is Galaxy, but I just love this, and this will definitely frame and put on our hallway wall. They also got me a book. They went for 50/50 by Steve Kavanagh, which is very exciting. Husband has been raiding my Amazon wishlist again. I haven't read one of these for ages, and I loved Steve Kavanagh books a couple of years ago, but I think I got up to date and then had to stop, obviously, whilst he was writing more. And this is about, as it says, 2 sisters on trial for murder. They accuse each other. Who do you believe? I really might pick this up pretty much straight away. So that was an excellent choice from them. And then this last one, this is the funniest thing. And also I love it. And also I may unironically wear it. They got me a teacher medal. So let me hold it closer to the camera. So it says, Victoria, congratulations on your results. Time to celebrate. Love, Gary and Charlie. And you can now see yourself. Oh, it's like vlogception. So yeah, I absolutely love it. Here comes more Savvy even to investigate what's going on. So yeah, those are all the bits in the box. Then I have got both girl cats in with me, so this could now be chaos. All right, Savvy. She's like, what are you doing? Why are you sat here? I know we do. You just sit here. Hello, baby. Right. So the book I finished. It's probably the easiest 5 stars I've given possibly this entire year. It will definitely be in my favourite books of the year. And that book was You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke and Meze. I picked this up when my brother and I went book shopping last month, totally at random. Got it second hand, really cheap. And I wasn't I'd seen it around and quite a few people had recommended it to me, but I wasn't oh, it's a book I want to read immediately. Then I was looking at my shelves the day before yesterday, and I knew that this was set in the summer or set in a hot place, and I was like, I'm going to read this before the weather turns. I mean, the weather has turned. We've not had a sunny day in about a week now. But yeah, I was like, okay, we'll pick this up and give this a go. And I absolutely loved it. So following a character who has been widowed And this is a classic example of why content warnings are really important, because it says on the description, I think, that she's grieving. Maybe not. I'd basically been warned that this is about a character who's just lost her husband, or I think it's about 5 years since she lost him. And that for me is like probably my biggest fear and one of my biggest triggers if I don't know about it in books. But because I knew going in that this was a book about grief, I could A, decide that I wanted to read it, B, decide I was in the right frame of mind to read it, and C, kind of brace myself as I was reading it. So we're following a character who has been widowed young, and she's basically getting back into dating. It's been about 5 years, and she's being encouraged by her best friend. I loved the relationship between the two best friends, by the way. And she's kind of encouraging her to get back out on the dating scene. And the opening scene of this book is our character meeting a guy in a bar and having sex with him in a bathroom. So this is very steamy, it's very adult, but I just absolutely loved it. She then goes on to meet a different guy, and he invites her to his father's house for the summer. She's an artist. His father is a famous chef who also knows a curator of a museum or an art gallery. And so she goes with him back to the island to work and show her work and exhibit and all that kind of stuff. And she meets someone, and it says, I don't want to give too much away. So it says the only problem is she's falling for the one man she absolutely can't have. So we have this kind of forbidden romance. You have massive themes of grief, which I thought were dealt with fantastically. You have all kinds of sexual representation. Our main character is bisexual, and I felt like that was dealt with really well. It was dealt with as kind of it's not a big deal, it's just who she is, which is obviously great. And the writing is just, it was flawless. It's not very often I say that about a book. To me, this was perfectly written, absolutely flawless. There's nothing I didn't like about it. It was a fantastic exploration of grief, love, adult communication, and yeah, I wanted more. I did not want to leave the characters behind. I was sad when the book was finished. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So if you've got this on your TBR, I would highly recommend it. I'm completely obsessed. This is my first Akwaeke and Mezi book. It will not be the last book that I read from them. I've got Pet already on my shelf, which is their middle grade, which I will give a go at some point. But I just want to read everything they've ever written now. So yeah, absolutely loved that. Flawless, 5 stars. I'll be amazed if that doesn't end up in my favourite books of the year. And then the bookish delivery that I've had today, and I just want to make it super clear before I show you guys this. I paid for this. This has not been like gifted to me or discounted or whatever. I am friends with the creator. She's one of my best friends. But I have fully paid for this, okay? So it's from Chloe Reads Books, and it's her bookmarks. So she launched her bookmarks like a month or so ago. So I'm a bit of a rubbish friend because I took ages to get around to it, but I eventually got around to ordering some the other day. They arrived really, really quickly. I feel like I ordered these like Sunday, and it's now Wednesday, question mark. I think it's Wednesday. And they've arrived. So they come in an envelope, obviously, but they come really beautifully wrapped, and I thought I'd open them on screen. And this is her business card, which is also very exciting because I'll keep that as a bookmark as well. And then this is how they come. Look how cute this is, all like wrapped in tissue. And then I've got a little frog sticker on there that says good, good. All right, so let's open this up and I will show you. I'm so excited also to have new bookmarks. It's been a while since I've had new bookmarks. So I will link Chloe below so that you can find the link to order them. She's doing it via a Google form and then PayPal, which was very easy. And I will say it was super simple because I am no good with technology, but even I was able to navigate it without any problems. So, oh, look at this. Right, so I went for all 4. I've gone for because I just saw them and I was like, oh, these are all so cute and I'll use them loads. And I think it was £2 for a bookmark and then £1 for every additional bookmark, and then like £2 for postage or something. But I'll leave you the link so that you can see everything. So we've got the classic Chloe Reads Books with her channel art on it. And then on the back it says this book is fine, which she says all the time. So yeah, I really loved that. So it's really good quality, really good quality. You guys know I prefer a cardboard or like a cardboard bookmark rather than fabric ones. I do have quite the extensive collection of fabric ones because they're pretty, but I tend to use these ones more. I then also got her Chloe's Crime Scene Corner one, which says let's read true crime, and then you've got the like grisly like bleeding hand. And then on the back it says, this book has murder in it, so I bought it naturally, which obviously is another very Chloe thing to say. I have also, by the way, I meant to say I've got mad hair because I just got straight out of the pool and I haven't showered yet. So I got those two, which I thought were fun. Then I also got the Avocado Gang one, which I just really like. It's so bright. And then it's just that on the back. Really love these. And then finally, I couldn't not get the Alan one. If you're not aware, Chloe accidentally set off some Twitter drama like a month ago, I think it was in June, when she made a comment about cyclists being annoying on the road, and she accidentally set off bike Twitter. And in her usual fashion, she has created a bookmark for it. So it says, busy causing drama, you've got the bookish ones, and then you've got Alan just there. And I think it says, oh yeah, it says maybe a commuter, maybe not, definitely in Lycra. Let's try and put that a bit closer. If I hide my face, will it show? Yeah, I absolutely love this one. And then you've got the bookish design on the back. So yeah, these are really, really good quality, arrive really fast. Very excited to have them. Let's try and line them up nicely. Look how cute they are. Well done, Chloe, these are amazing. Right, I am off to drag myself into the shower. And then I do have a few bits I need to do, really, before I collapse onto the sofa, but we'll see. I promise nothing. It's the 28th of July and I probably should have brushed my hair before I turned the camera on. You're also getting all the angles, different angles in my bedroom, because Gary is working in his office, which is the spare room, and then downstairs are the two teenagers, so we've got Charlie and his best mates here for another sleepover. So yeah, I'm having to like just film in my bedroom at the moment, and I would film over in the bay window where I usually sit, but Molly is currently on the cat bed looking very cute and looking very sleepy. Let's try and actually make this straight. That would be a bit of a bonus, wouldn't it? Okay, so today, I can't remember when I spoke to you, it might have been yesterday, maybe it was, or the day before. Anyway, Charlie and I got up this morning, went and picked up his best friend, went into Bath. They went off for an hour or so. I popped to Waterstones, didn't buy anything, did have a good little like nose around, and there are a few things that caught my interest, but I was like, no, I don't need more books, plus my birthday is next month and I will probably get books from friends and family. So it was really good, but I did have a nice rummage. Then I went to Primark because I needed all the basics, which I won't bore you with. I do, however, somehow I've managed to get 2 massive bags of Primark stuff. Whoops. Like literally all I bought is like t-shirts and underwear. And a few bits that Charlie needed. So yeah, I did that, which to be honest was hell on earth. I'm not a fan of being in Primark at the best of times, and it was absolutely heaving. So yeah, it was just one of those like grab what I need as fast as possible and get out of there. And then I went over to get some sushi, which I brought home and I've had just now, which is very lovely. And I went and spent my bubble tea voucher. As you saw, I got 2. I got the Tropical Punch, which was really good. It's one of their like summer specials, really liked it. And then I got my usual white peach with mango bubbles, no ice, waiting for me in the fridge, which I'm very excited to settle down with later on. But just now, I need to get on with some stuff. I do have a book to talk to you about as well, just so I do a status update first. So I am off on my holiday with my mum and my brother tomorrow to Cornwall, which means that I need to pack today. I also need to do some last bits of life admin, and I'm feeling quite nervous about driving. I'm driving myself down there, which is about 3.5 hours from here. I don't usually drive that far myself, so I'm kind of a bit nervous about that, but I am also really excited to have a whole week with my mum and my brother, because I genuinely can't remember the last time we did that, maybe a decade ago, so that'll be really cool. But yeah, the book I finished, so I can't remember if I said this in the previous clip. I have got to start rewatching clips before I film a new one. I do apologise. I'm feeling slumpy with my reading, and it's a bit weird to say that because I am reading, hence this vlog. Oh, sorry, Molly is like cleaning her face whilst like lay down, and she's so cute. Like I can't cope with her. She's adorable. She is also a serial killer, as we know. Yeah, so I'm feeling a bit slumpy with my reading, which I realise is a weird thing to say because I am reading. I think I'm on like 11 books or something this month. But I'm not feeling particularly excited to read, if you can understand that. Like, I am sitting down and reading because that's part of my everyday routine, but I haven't been particularly excited to read or like really had that urge to read. So I was asking on Instagram why I should read. Showed a picture of my TBR shelf, and you guys picked this book. That was the most voted one. And you guys picked it because you knew it was a book I was excited about. So the book that I have finished is Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey. I picked this up on a total whim a couple months ago now. I think it was when I did the Instagram Controls My Day vlog, possibly. Might have been that one. Sorry, she's not like looking straight at me. She's just, you're so cute. You're so cute. She's like, yeah, I am. I would turn the camera, but as soon as I move this, she'll like jump away. She hates my phone for some reason. Yeah, so I picked this up as a cover buy because, I mean, how could you not be drawn in by that cover? So anyway, I picked this up and read it. I gave it 4.5 stars. First of all, really loved it. I would say, I think what's on the back, which I have read out loud in previous vlogs and TBRs and stuff, gives way too much of the story away. So we're following a woman called Vera, whose mother is dying. Vera has not been home in 20 years, and her mother calls her home because her mother is dying. And her father is also dead, already dead. And that's kind of all you know at the beginning. And so she goes home to kind of care for her mother and clear out the family home. And if you haven't already heard the blurb for this, like, that's all you actually need to know. Like I said, I feel like what's on the back spoils it in a way. So we're following Vera as she goes home, and there are lots and lots of content warnings. This is super, super dark. This is very, very dark. So obviously death of a parent is one, but also the process of dying as well is very visceral and very detailed. So just be aware of that before you pick this up. There is also descriptions of torture in this. And it's also just very scary. Like a few times I had to put this down and go and read something cute and fluffy because it was genuinely going to give me nightmares. Especially, I was reading a section of this in bed, and there's stuff that happens when Vera's in bed at night, and I was like, I can't be reading this right now. I'm going to have nightmares all night long. So this takes the haunted house trope and kind of mixes it up with serial killer stuff. And then twists it all in with grief and kind of emotional abuse and puberty and growing up and all of the confusion that comes with that. And I just thought this was fantastically done. There are parts of this that are savage, but there are also parts that are beautifully written, and I adored the writing. You were not necessarily always on Vera's side. She's not a completely likable character. She's very morally grey. And yeah, it was weird. I'm not even sure if I'm explaining it properly. It was sad and weird and dark and gross, but it also kind of made me feel things. I don't know what that says about me. So yeah, I gave this 4.5 stars. If any of that garbled review interests you, I would recommend you pick this up. I want to see what else she's written, because she's written quite a lot from what I saw briefly on her GoodReads. And yeah, I gave it 4.5. I didn't give it a 5 because there is one aspect of the book that I felt wasn't fully explored. We didn't fully get to the why of why that was happening. But yeah, 4.5 stars, absolutely solid read, and it's definitely kind of kickstarted my reading again. So I need to get up off my bedroom floor, go and sort out all the Primark stuff that I've just bought, whoops, and then pack for my adventure tomorrow. It's the 31st of July and I'm coming in to wrap up the wrap up on the last day of the month. Who am I? When am I ever this organised? So we're in Cornwall, as you can see. Sorry if it's a bit echoey in here, it's just a huge room. I'm here with Mum and Ben and we're having a really lovely week. They've gone off to do some exploring of local villages and stuff, but I was just kind of not feeling it today. So I've kind of tapped out so I could have a little bit of quiet and get some Booktube stuff done and all that kind of stuff. Just be by myself for a little bit because I actually haven't had a day alone yet this holiday. And the introverts that are watching this will know you just get to a point where you really need it. So that's what I'm doing this afternoon. So yeah, I'm coming in to wrap up the wrap up. I'll leave a link to where we're staying because by the time this goes up, we won't be here anymore. So I'll see if I can find the link. Mum found it and I will link it in the description. It's absolutely stunning. We're right on the coast, literally behind the camera here. There's a field, there's a road, a field, and then the sea. And it is just beautiful. So yeah, we're having a very lovely time. And you'll see a bit more of it in August vlog because August starts tomorrow, shockingly. So before we get into the wrap up, I finished one more book, which is 50/50 by Steve Kavanagh, as you'll have seen in the vlog. This is the one that the boys put in their gift box to me. And I just could not resist picking it up straight away. Steve Kavanagh is a thriller author. I've read, I think, everything he's published now, or pretty much. And this is one of his Eddie Flynn novels. And it's a courtroom drama, as it always is with Eddie Flynn. But with this one, we've got a pair of sisters. Their father's been brutally murdered, and they are both accusing each other. And you are trying to work out who is innocent and who is guilty, and we're following the trial. I'm obviously not going to say any more about the plot than that because I don't want to give spoilers, but I really enjoyed this. I gave it a solid 4 stars. I wasn't quite as hooked as some of the other Steve Kavanaghs that I've read, but I did enjoy it, and I was going back and forth for quite a while over which sister I thought it was. I did get it before the reveal, but I thought it was clever. There were some interesting twists and turns. Massive content warnings for violence and murder and gore. Also for grief, for child abuse. I think that's it. And also, massive warning, sorry, for self-harm and suicide ideation. So just be aware. These are dark books, as you can probably tell by the cover, but they are really, really well written. My cover is looking very beaten up. That's just definitely a cracked spine. But I thoroughly enjoyed that. Would recommend it. 4 stars for sure. Will always pick up Steve Kavanagh books when I see them. Right, I've got my trusty blue book, so let's do stats. So, number of books read this month was 13. Not a bad month. Not my highest month either. Pages read were 4,463, which is 144 a day, which is slightly below where I need to be to hit my page count for the year, but I'm sure that I will pull that back up in August. My average star rating was 3.57. So yeah, this month I've had a couple of 5 stars. One book in particular that I loved that I'll talk about in a minute. But the rest of my reading I felt a little bit meh about, and I think it's because of the fact that it's July and it's been such a kind of crazy busy month with school and camp and all the rest of it. So I'm hoping that things will pick up a little bit in August as I relax into my holiday. My most disappointing read, I'm going to go with A Certain Hunger. Obviously I'm away and I haven't got my books with me, so hopefully a picture has magically appeared here. Yeah, I'm going with A Certain Hunger. It wasn't my lowest rated book of the month. That was The Twyford Code, which I gave 2 stars. We all know how I feel about that, but my expectations for that were low, so it wasn't disappointing. Whereas Certain Hunger I gave 3.5 stars, and it was on my kind of 5-star prediction list. So for it to only get 3.5 star is disappointing. However, on the flip side of that, my favourite read of the month was You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. I loved that book. It was an unexpected 5-star. I love a surprise book. I'm still thinking about it like over a week later. I thought it was absolutely flawless. So that was definitely my favourite read of the month. My TBR is at 46 books, which is up 2 on last month. So it is like steadily climbing, and also August is my birthday month, so I probably will get books from friends and family, so I'm a little bit nervous about the size of my TBR potentially by the end of next month, but we'll see what happens. As always, I'm super relaxed about it, really. Like 46 is not that big in terms of Booktube, but it's just something I'm keeping track of. And then my balancing the books, so I had 12 out, so I read 13 books, but one of those was Conviction, which wasn't on my TBR to begin with. It was an audiobook, so it didn't like come on my TBR to come off it. So 12 out, 15 in, which obviously means that I hauled 3 more than read. And the year to date, I have hauled 7 more than read. So I need to get reading my shelves. But I feel like August is going to be a really good reading month. I'm doing the Amazing Readathon with Brianna and all of the other incredible creators. And if I haven't already, I will link Brianna's announcement video because it's got everything you need in the description below. I'm very excited for that. We start tomorrow. We've just had our first prompt drop, which is to travel to New York, and the prompt was to read a book from any of the big 5 publishers. So yeah, I'm getting ready for that. That's gonna be really fun. August vlog, I will also be split into 2 because otherwise it might genuinely end up being like 5 hours long. You might end up with 5 hours of content anyway, because I might end up with 2 like massive vlogs, but I've decided to split that in the middle. So the first half of that will come at the end of August, and then the second half will be, as usual, my first upload of September. So I hope that's okay. We've got absolutely loads planned. Obviously I'm here for the rest of the week with my mum and my brother in Cornwall. Gary and I are then away next week, just the 2 of us, which will be really lovely. I feel like that's when I'll probably relax and start recharging properly. I always feel more relaxed when he's off as well. And then our following week is our family week with Charlie. And then the week after that, I'm away with Charlie for a little bit, and I've also got results day at school for my year 11s. And then I got my birthday, and then it's back to work. So I feel like August will fly past. July has been a much better month than June. I mean, June was pretty terrible, but thankfully July has been better. So thank you if you have been chatting to me on Twitter or Instagram or here and cheering me on. I really do appreciate it. If you've made it to the end of the video, let's have, what should we have? I literally can't think of anything. Let's have a sheep emoji, because that's what I can see behind the camera. It's just a whole field of sheep, flock of sheep, flock of sheep. So leave me the sheep emoji if you got to this point in the video. Thank you so much if you've watched all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it so very much. Please subscribe if you would like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone. Bye.